there's been a team who took pole at the Indy 500, another that grew some of the biggest talents in the sport, and one that didn't really do anything notable. But one thing ties all of them together: they no longer compete. So where are they now? Actually, where are all of these teams that were lost to history? Chances are if you watched F2, F3, WEC, IndyCar, or just racing in general, you've heard of Prema, an Italian racing giant most known for their presence in the junior categories of F1, and it's been running since 1983 under the Rosen family. They helped nurture household names like Charles Leclerc and Oscar Piastri, but their entry into IndyCar came last year. The reason for extension across the pond was new funding Prema had, with new investors DC Racing Solutions tossing $40 million into the pot, and they did pretty well. Their rookie sensation Robert Schwartzman took pole at the 2025 Indy 500, making him the first rookie to do so since 1983, and making the team the first to take pole on debut since 1984. It was also extremely surprising because prior to qualifying, Schwartzman never placed above 28th in practice for the 500, so as he shot up the timesheets, it wasn't even remotely expected. The team's other driver Callum Ilott did quite the opposite, where he didn't really have a crazy standout moment, but instead he led consistent results with 4 top 10s in the last 5 races. Despite good results in their first campaign, the team imploded from the inside out, with our good old pals DC Racing Solutions stopping payments midway through the year due to a financial collapse, and the Rosen family, who founded Prema, departed the team. Without having a charter for this year and no sponsors to really fund them, the team slowly bled out and now isn't competing just a year later. Rumors of a comeback have stirred since their departure, but due to employees leaving since the collapse and no sponsor really stepping up, it's safe to assume that we've seen the last of Prema in IndyCar for a good bit. Another team that competed against Prema in the lower Formula Series that was in IndyCar is Carlin, a UK-based team founded in 1996 that has multiple bids to join top series, and IndyCar was one of them. In 2018, Carlin joined IndyCar as a Chevy-powered team after being a team in Indy Lights since 2015. They joined with the same approach that Prema had in hiring 2 drivers they formerly had in other series, with Max Chilton and Charlie Kimball. But in their few years, they also fielded Pato O'Ward, Connor Daly, and Sage Karam to name a few. To be honest, Carlin was by no means a successful team, and never scored above a 17th in the driver's standings. And the downturn came after the 2019 Indy 500, where 2 of the team's 3 cars were bumped. Max Chilton, as I mentioned earlier, was the main reason this team was around for as long as it was, as he majorly funded the team with his sponsors. But as the years went on, the team went from a 2-car team to a failed 3-car team, back down to a 1-car team. As a result, when Max Chilton decided it was time to pursue endurance racing, the team had no funds to continue, and they ceased to exist. In the end, the team sold their IndyCar equipment to the team we now have running today, Juncos Hollinger, and most of their staff moved there as well to foster what at the time was a 1-car effort with Callum Ilott. The idea behind Carlin was always good as a European team trying to find a home for their junior drivers without a spot in F1, but it was an idea that was all too expensive. Harding Steinbrenner is an iconic team in terms of who had success with them, being the team that brought Colton Herta to become the youngest race winner in IndyCar history. But their story is a bit different. They were founded in 2017 as just Harding Racing, owned by Mike Harding, who was the owner of a concrete and asphalt paving company. In 2018, George Michael Steinbrenner joined as a co-owner of the team and became the youngest ever team owner at just 22 years old. In their first year, they raced a single car at 3 races, but then ran 1 full-time car in 2018. But didn't see much success, but as a 1-car team in 2019, they won 2 races with Colton Herta. They did attempt to run a 2-car team with the other car being driven by Pato O'Ward, but due to financial instability, the entry didn't even make it to the first race. The finance issues affected Herta as well though, as for 2020, the team shifted from a full-time team to a partnership for an entry with Andretti. With that, Herta ended the year in 3rd, and Harding and Steinbrenner left the team, and the entry was just absorbed by Andretti, who became a 4-car team. Even though the team no longer exists today, they helped establish 2 of the top drivers in the series, and one of them that could possibly make waves in F1. so they're about as influential as they can get in their short time. The next team also only lived in IndyCar for 1 year, but followed a similar formula to Harding Steinbrenner. CFH Racing was a merger team in 2015 between Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing and Ed Carpenter Racing. The team came because of Carpenter racing for the team in 2011, so they merged to field 2 cars with Joseph Newgarden in one, and split the season between Carpenter and Luca Filippi in the other. The deal represented 2 teams coming together to make a stronger one, and it definitely did because of one man, Joseph Newgarden. Across the year, Newgarden got 2 wins and 2 second-place finishes, the first 2 wins of his career, and a large reason why Newgarden has reached the heights he has today of winning 2 Indy 500s and 2 championships. After all though, the team doesn't exist, and the reason why is just a conflict of interest. The joint venture was the final season Sarah Fisher Hartman had involvement in the sport, as both Sarah Fisher and Wink Hartman left, and the team went back to being at Ed Carpenter Racing for 2016. As per usual, Ed Carpenter absorbed the entry and expanded to a 2-car team from a 1-car team, and have grown into the team they are today. Bryan Herta Autosport is the next team, and the name is going to be memorable because Bryan Herta was a former IndyCar race winner, current strategist for Kyle Kirkwood, and a father of Colton Herta. But at a time, he owned his own team and won the Indy 500. They started as an Indy 500 only team, fielding Sebastian Saavedra in 2010, and actually winning the event in 2011 with Dan Weldon. From there, they saw upside and expanded to a full-time team, but never really had driver stability all the way until 2015. Nothing insanely notable happened in their time other than the 500 win by Weldon, but 2016 was the end of the team as Bryan Herta Autosport, but they actually still survive to this day. They too went into a partnership with the Andretti for the 98 entry. They once again won the Indy 500 with Alexander Rossi in 2016 when he was a rookie, and were again on top of the podium at Watkins Glen in 2017. The reason for shifting to a partner team was the same financial issues that all the other teams have encountered, and a shift in focus to their sports car program. It was definitely a good call as they have been successful in both IMSA and Rallycross, but anyways, Bryan Herta Autosport has continued to be part of Andretti's 4th entry to this day, except for this year because they didn't run the 98 car at the 500. Schmidt Peterson started in 2001 and still runs to this day under a new name. The team started a year after Sam Schmidt had a brutal crash in Orlando and had severe injuries that left him paralyzed, and it was a way to keep him in the sport despite being unable to race himself. But the team never really became a full-time team until 2012. 2012 was the year the team received more funds because former driver for the team, Davey Hamilton, brought a lot of sponsorship money to the team, and the following year, Rick Peterson bought a stake in the team to make it Schmidt Peterson Racing, the name you'll probably recognize. They had plenty of prominent drivers take wins for them like Simon Pagenaud and James Hinchcliffe, and others that didn't win for them like Robert Wickens and Marcus Ericsson. Across their years, they became an upper midfield staple and made multiple podium appearances every single year that they were a full-time team. After their departure, they slowly transitioned into one of the current teams, and it all started with the title sponsorship with Arrow. In 2020, 75% of the team was purchased by McLaren, and both Schmidt and Peterson still held on to the last 25% through 2024 when they were completely bought out. Now we see them as a team under a completely new identity, with few remnants of the team that used to be, but they went from a project of hope after tragedy to the transition into a team that's become one of the biggest brands in motorsport. Finally, we have KV Racing Technology, a team dating all the way back to Champ Cars. The team was originally formed as PK Racing in 2003 by Kevin Kalkoven and former F1 manager Craig Pollock, the same man behind BAR. In Champ Car, they had plenty of big-name drivers like Bryan Herta, Mika Salo, and Cristiano D'Amata, but into their IndyCar stint, they built genuine championship contenders. Will Power, Takuma Sato, Tony Kanaan, and Sebastian Bourdais were a few drivers to sport the KV Racing name, as Pollock left the team and was replaced by Jimmy Vasser. The team reached its highest highs, taking a victory at the 2013 Indy 500, and they thought it would bring them in money and sponsors, but it didn't. In 2016, after a solid 13 years as a team, funds dried up, and owners decided to sell equipment. The team initially aimed to sell to Carlin, but that fell through, but the later equipment was sold to CFH Racing in 2017.